34. Though I may speak with bravest fire.
Though I may speak with bravest fire.
That's it. Really tough memorize that.
With great Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Alexa Adamo Valverde, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. We extend a warm welcome to all, especially visitors and newcomers. We are so glad that you're here, and we ask you to check out the section for you in the back of the order of service, Welcome Guests and Newcomers. We also welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of service may be found at the bottom of the screen, and a complete order of service, including weekly announcements, is available through the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. A happy early Thanksgiving to all who celebrate, and at the Community Church of Chapel Hill, we acknowledge the harmful myths of this holiday and the ongoing impact of colonization on Indigenous peoples. We also name the present-day challenges of racism and ethnocentrism faced by immigrants and all Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We invite our community to honor Indigenous histories and to center gratitude, justice, and beloved community in all we do. In that light, today is our annual Pie Sunday. Please join us after service for this 30-year tradition. A slice of homemade pumpkin pie and fresh whipped cream made by the children of our church. We also invite you to join in our annual all-church greeting and chili potluck event on Saturday, December 6th, starting at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's for all ages and no RSVPs are required. At 4:30, we decorate the sanctuary and fill holiday totes with donations for women and families living at the Interfaith Council's Home Start Shelter. And at 5:30, the chili potluck will begin. We'll end the evening with a holiday sing-along led by the Ukes. Please also check out the giving tree that is in the Commons for donations to the service project. Lastly, if you would please turn off or silence any cell phones to maintain a worshipful experience. Whomever you are, whomever you love, and however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. And now it is time for Within These Walls. Please welcome Ellie and Chris Spey to speak with us about our Memorial Task Force.
And good morning. My name is Chris Spey, and I'm joined by my wife, Ellie. And we are here on behalf of the Memorial Task Force. I'm guessing that many of you have never heard of the Memorial Task Force. So with any luck, that's about to change. Our group has been meeting over the past year to discuss how we might remember members of our community after they've passed. The three aspects we have concentrated on are memorialization of members and loved ones, accessibility of Memorial Rock, and updating our memorial book and records. We know that this can be a difficult issue for many people to think about, but I think you would agree it's a very important one. We're all beloved members here, and we want that to be reflected not only during our lives, but afterwards as well. The task force is looking at a few options to recommend to the board and would like your input about how you want to be remembered. As many of you know, your ashes can be scattered at Memorial Rock. For those interested in this option, what would you want that to look like? We're also considering transforming the Willis Garden out in the back. We're wondering whether anyone is interested in having their ashes interred there, or if there is interest in a plaque listing names. To find out the answers to these questions, we have a quick survey that we are asking members to fill out over the next few weeks. You will see it in the newsletter, might get an email or two, and we'll be tabling during coffee hour. We encourage everyone to stop by the table and fill out the survey. It's short. I can assure you we've been through it ourselves. It is very brief.
And
We're all, sorry.
No, Nicole is going to give out candy to anybody who fills out this survey, and any child that fills it out and brings it to his parents to fill out, they will also get candy.
Incentives all around. So even if you don't stop by the table, please take the time to fill out the survey. We promise it's quick. We truly want your input, and we'll use it to guide our recommendations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life. What if we knew our power from the earliest age? Born whole, born free, growing into the fullest expression of ourselves as time unfolds us. There are some who experience this, but they are few and far between. Most of us forget, somewhere along the way, the story of who we are. So we must make it a practice of reconnecting to ourself, to lean in with love, and notice what makes us tick, what brings us joy, what comforts and grounds us. This story, this way of being, whatever it is our truth, our center, where we are safe, open, receptive. It is where our creativity simmers, quiet and steady, until one spark lights us from the inside out. Yes, we feel it in every pore. Our power, our peace, our longing, our self, connected and whole. Come, let us worship together. You will find the words for a chalice lighting written by Layla Ibrahim in your order of service. Please join me in reading them if you wish to do so. It is a blessing you were born. It matters what you do with your life. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. You don't have to do it alone.
As the choir is gathering. I just want to tell you a little bit about this piece. It's by a new composer from Los Angeles that I love, named Rena Esmail. The Community Church Singers also sang a song called Listen last week by the same composer. And she does a lot of work like on Skid Row in Los Angeles and with incarcerated people. And she was at a women's prison in Corona, California. Afterwards, a nun from Minnesota came up to her and said, there's these words that I think might really resonate with you. You are the result of the love of thousands. And so she took that to heart, and she went home and did some research and looked up the poets. It's a Native American poet named Linda Hogan. And so she found the whole poem and decided to set it to music. And these are the words of the poem. Walking, I am listening to a deeper way. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands.
Before we enter into our time of joys and sorrows, I want to take a few moments of ministerial privilege, as it were, to speak to something that's on my heart this morning, and I'm sure that's on many of our hearts. We've learned this past week that Border Patrol is now conducting operations here in North Carolina, here in the Triangle, and even here in Orange County. And I'd like to speak to this. First, they're not invited, not wanted, and not welcome. Their presence in our community is nothing more than an attempt to terrorize people with brown skin, especially those with ancestries that can be traced back to Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Border Patrol's presence is a threat to undocumented people, but also to immigrants with papers, those with green cards, asylum and refugee status, work visas, and temporary protected status, many of whom have been swept up in these raids and operations. Indeed, their presence is also a threat to American citizens of Latin or Caribbean heritage, many of whom have also been detained, sometimes for weeks and months, without due process. In our community, we are seeing children staying home from school out of fear. We see parents not going to work, not going to the supermarket, not going to church out of fear of being detained. I'd like to say a few words about how we can respond as a community and actually how we are responding as a community. Our approach to threats and to injustice is to work in partnership and in solidarity with organizations that represent communities that are at most at risk. For us, this means working with organizations like Siembra. And I know a lot of members of our church, including members of our immigrant justice ministry, have been trained on how to counter Border Patrol and ICE. I know the UU Ministry, Justice Ministry of North Carolina, is also coordinating responses in partnership with Siembra. The message we're getting from our partners is not to engage with ICE or Border Patrol unless you have been trained. To do so puts yourself at risk and also puts people of color at even greater risk. If you'd like to find out information about how to get trained, I can help you get that information, and so can the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina. And even if you're not trained in how to engage with ICE or Border Patrol, there are still things that you can do. One small thing that you can do is to be a customer or a patron at Latin-owned businesses. When people stay away out of fear, it causes economic harm to stores and shops. And I also know that many of our schools are working to provide meals and groceries to families that are not sending their children to school at this time, including Frank Porter Graham Elementary here in our neighborhood. I invite you to get involved in a way that feels right for you. We will not and we do not condone racist terror in our community. So let us rise to this moment to be in solidarity and to change the world with our love. Amen. We're going to transition now into a time of joys and sorrows. I'm going to place the first stone this morning. If you've come this morning with either a significant personal joy or a significant sorrow, you are invited in this time to come forward to place a stone in the bowl, to say your name into the microphone, and to briefly share your joy or your sorrow. Let us enter into this time of tenderness and trust. And like I said, I'm gonna place the first one this morning. About 11 days ago, our intern minister, Kaylee Grogan, had a fall while at a minister's retreat and broke her ankle. She had surgery on it on Wednesday and is being well cared for. We look forward to when Kaylee is back on her feet, so to speak, and able to rejoin us in community. And I also just want to say a word of thanks to Reverend Dr. James Kubal-Komodo, my wonderful colleague in Raleigh, who filled in on very short notice last week to lead us in worship.
Hello, I'm Vincent. I have a personal joy for one of my friends who is staying, fortunately for them, staying in Chapel Hill over Thanksgiving, because otherwise they would have been going to Boston, to a place where they're not comfortable and they do not like to be. So I'm just happy that they get to stay here and I get to see them.
Good morning, I'm Jenny Warnash. I am so excited to say that my son Sam is in his final year at the Naval Academy. They just had service assignment selection. He did not get his first choice, which was Navy SEALs. He got his second, which is pilot. And I am so excited because for many, many reasons, not the least of which is that now he will, because of flight school, not be deployable until into 2028, hopefully near the end of this nightmare administration, and I don't want him at the whims of this maniac.
Hi, I'm Chris Holbein. My longtime former mother-in-law, Nancy Schneider, passed recently, and she and her family and my former partner are in my thoughts.
Mark Underwood, a new member, and my joy comes from some inspiration from watching a group of UNC students primarily setting up a community of people that can work to support Chapel Hill and Orange County in addressing the injustices that our minister Thom has already talked about. And they're just doing a phenomenal job of organizing people and reaching out locally and broadly to help get a community that can support people.
I'm Marnie Goldschlag, and this stone is for our former minister, Britt Johnson, whose husband, Michael Schulman, passed away this week.
My name is Glenda Wheeland, and I ask for your healing thoughts and prayers for my niece and her 4 children, ages 13 to 19. Their father passed away this weekend of a cocaine overdose. May we have prayers for those who are addicted, that they might find help and healing before it's too late.
I'm Grant. I always love the opportunity to embarrass my wife. It's her birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, honey.
Hi, I'm Jenna Kaisen, and I put 2 stones in today. One is related to what Thom talked about earlier. I live in a black and brown neighborhood, and the majority of my neighbors are immigrants. And I am so grateful for their presence in my life. The smells, the languages, the community that is in my neighborhood. And I have quite recently heard that ICE has been seen in my neighborhood, although I did not witness them. So just to uphold my neighbors and my community at this scary time. I'm also a reading intervention teacher at Phillips Middle School, and the majority of my students are black and brown. In fact, they're all black and brown, and the majority are also immigrants, and they are afraid to come to school, where I provide the safest, most loving environment that I possibly can. So sending energy for them and prayers for their families. That's just 1 stone. Sorry, Thom. My second stone is for my son Khalil, who goes by Kaise these days, who after 2.5 years of 10 years of battling with mental illness and 2.5 years of attempting to get disability from the government, has had a final no, and right now is interviewing for a position as an assistant RE director at Unity Center of Peace. So.
Hi, I'm Kim, and this is Mary Beth.
Mary Beth Powell.
And we are placing this stone for our twisted sister, Susan, who this past week got an official diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. And she lives by herself, and we are rallying around and trying to figure out, next steps and what kind of supports are needed, and appreciate your thoughts and care. Her mom, now Susan comes sometimes to church, pretty rarely, but her mom was an early member, and Susan Jordison, and we appreciate your care.
Her mom was Nancy Jordison, who was a member of the choir for a long time. And our kids went to the preschool here, and also were members of the youth group for a long time. Thanks.
A final stone is placed for all the joys and sorrows which we hold in our hearts that were not spoken. Would you join with me in the spirit of prayer and meditation? We hold in our hearts all of the sorrows spoken this morning. We hold those in our community who grieve. We hold those who face illness, surgery, and recovery. We hold as well the joys, anniversaries, milestones, birthdays. In community, we remember that as we share our lives with one another, our joys become multiplied, and our griefs, our mourning, becomes more gentle as we feel held by one another. Remind us to hold each other in love, to care for each other, and to ever expand our care and our concern to our neighbors, our wider community, and this world that we love. I invite you to hold a few moments of silence. Let us be still for a time. Amen. Let us sing. Our sung meditation is number 1009 in the Teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing. We will remain seated as we sing.
reading is by Victoria Saffold, entitled Map of the Journey in Progress. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here is a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here is where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is a place where I said no, more loudly than I thought I ever could, and everybody stared. But I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said, and those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me, they had no power anymore. Here's a time and here's another when I laid down my fear and walked right into it, right up to my neck in that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something, and here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion, and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back out, passed the gift along. This circular motion around and around has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what there is to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me, a warm breeze in late winter, a bird song in late summer. And here's where I was told something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's what I said. Yes, I know. I walk in beauty. And here's where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. And here is where, if by surgeon's knife my heart was opened up, and here and here and here, these are the landmarks of conversion. And now it is time for offertory. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service and tap the banner that appears. Or there's information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
This is a song about heaven and about inner peace. It was inspired when the composer saw a particularly ethereal sunrise. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand, where my home will be eternal, singing a brand new song of joy divine. My soul rejoices just in knowing that soon these pleasures will be mine. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand, where my home shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land, where my home shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land.
We're under very firm directions from Marion this morning that the service must not end early, because then the pies will not be fully baked. It's being timed so that the pies are fully baked at 12:15. So if I get done with my sermon early, then we're going to do charades or something. I don't think it will, though. I want to start my sermon this morning with a little Unitarian history. Let's start with a little Ralph Waldo Emerson. On July 15th, 1838, Emerson gave a lecture to the graduating class of Harvard Divinity School. At this time, Harvard was a Unitarian school, and he was speaking to young people who were all about to become Unitarian ministers. And today, all UU ministers are required to read that speech that Emerson gave. I first read it in high school because I'm precocious. I later read it in college as a part of an American literature course and in grad school as a part of a Unitarian history course. And when we take our youth to Boston for coming of age, we go into the very same chapel at Harvard where Emerson gave the address, and we have them stand in the pulpit where Emerson stood. Chills. Emerson's graduation lecture was controversial. So controversial that he was banned from speaking at Harvard for the next 20 years. And then, as these things go, Harvard later honored Emerson by naming the chapel after him and put up a big bronze historical marker. Here, Ralph Waldo Emerson delivered the Divinity School address. I could spend the rest of this morning talking about what Emerson said on that refulgent summer evening and why it was controversial. I'm going to spare you that. We have pie to eat. But I do want to talk about one part of the address, the part that I find the most powerful. It is the part where Emerson goes full anti-authority. He tells the 6 graduating ministers, yes, just 6, in front of their professors, in front of all the ministers of Boston, he tells them to reject the influence of their teachers and mentors and to listen instead to themselves. Let me read a little bit of what Emerson said. I've modified his words for gender inclusivity and to make them a little easier to follow. But here is sort of what Emerson said. He said, "Let me admonish you, first of all, to go alone, refuse the good models, even those that are sacred in the imagination. Dare to love God without mediator or veil. Friends enough you shall find who will hold up to your emulation Wesleys and Oberlins, saints and prophets. Thank God for these models, but be yourself. Imitation cannot go above its model. The imitator is doomed to hopeless mediocrity." He had an edge to it there. Emerson goes even further than that, though, and here I'm going to paraphrase him. Emerson said that when we follow another person's example, we deny that the same spark of inspiration that inspired them actually has the power to inspire us. He argues that we should have faith in our own soul.
Emerson says that once you set aside your own intuition of the divine and follow the secondary knowledge, whether that's of St. Paul or George Fox or Swedenborg, you grow apart from the divine. Emerson says that the way to be spiritually dead is to assume that the age of inspiration is past, that the Bible is fully written and closed. Instead, he says, we should let inspiration breathe within us and be open to what new truth is being written in our living. This is radical. I have a friend, Reverend Jane Jepka, who wrote a book that was kind of an introduction to Unitarian Universalism. Jane is hilarious and quirky and bold, and her personality shines through her book. The book begins with a chapter called How Unitarian Universalists Break the Rules. And she says, actually, there are no rules. There are no rules. You could, if you decided to, have worship on Thursday afternoon at the zoo. She says in this essay, nothing external to us has any authority over us. It's liberating and frightening. I learned this growing up Unitarian Universalist. In my Unitarian Universalist Sunday school, we had a lesson. I remember I was like third grade. We had a lesson on the 10 Commandments. And this was the actual lesson I got in Sunday school. The Sunday school teacher began by telling us the story of Moses receiving the 10 Commandments, bringing down the stone tablets. The teacher explained what the 10 Commandments were and what they meant. Then the teacher passed out crayons and sheets of paper that were entirely blank except for an outline of a stone tablet. And the teacher said to us, write your own commandments. The lesson was profound. Here are the old rules, and here is a blank piece of paper and a crayon. Write your own. As Emerson said, let me admonish you, first of all, to go alone, to refuse the good models, even those that are sacred in the imagination. This is a story of our feisty faith, by the way. Our faith traces its roots all the way back to the Radical Reformation in England, to a bunch of feisty religious movements and political movements, Puritans and Quakers, Anabaptists and separatists, diggers and levelers. These groups were all different, but they all shared one common trait. They did not want to be told what to do. They said to the king and to the official Church of England, oh, you have rules that you expect us to follow? That's cute. We'll create our own, thank you very much. And they did. In 1636, our religious forebears in New England learned that England was planning to send over ministers to run the churches in New England in a way that would make, the people in England happy. And they said, that's cute. No, thank you. And they founded their own little school, a little school called Harvard, as a way of saying, we will teach our own ministers. How many people know that actually Harvard was originally founded as a way to basically say to the Church of England, no thank you, you can't tell us what to do. In 1648, England passed a set of sweeping regulations for how churches must be governed, and in New England, the response was, well, that's cute. So they called together a meeting and wrote their own rules. And in 1776, in Philadelphia, you know this story. English rule, no thank you. We'll choose our own government and our own leaders and assert our own rights, thank you very much. As Victoria Safford wrote in our reading this morning, this is the place where I said no, more loudly than I'd ever thought I could, and everybody stared, but I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said, and those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling. And over me, they had no power anymore. This spirit is alive today, thank God. Earlier this week, 6 members of Congress put out a message to members of the armed services in our country that said, you can refuse You should refuse to follow orders that are illegal. Say no. When people with frog costumes and whistles show up in front of ICE stations and say, leave, you are not welcome here, what they're really saying is, we do not accept that you have authority over us and over this community. This is the place where I said no more loudly than I thought I ever could. There's actually a chant that happens at these ICE protests that I think is brilliant. It gives me the chills. The chant goes, love your neighbor, love your God, save your soul, and quit your job. Love your neighbor, love your God, save your soul, and quit your job. And what I love about this chant is that it recognizes that these agents actually have agency over their own lives. They can say no. That is a choice that is available to them. They can refuse to follow orders. They can make different choices. They can author a different narrative for their lives and for their legacies. Emerson said, let me admonish you, first of all, to go alone, to refuse the good models. Jane Jepka said, break the rules, it's time. My Sunday school teacher said, here is a blank piece of paper and a crayon. Write your own religious scripture. The gospel of you. I suppose I should talk about the gospel of you since it's the title of my sermon this morning. In Greek, do you know what the word gospel, the Greek word for gospel is evangelion, which means good news or good message. So the gospel according to Mark and the gospel according to John really literally mean the good news according to Mark and the good news according to John. By the gospel of you, though, I mean something radical in the Emersonian sense and affirming in the fullness of our Unitarian Universalist sense. I mean, you are good news. I mean that your life is good news. This is at the core of our faith, the core of who we are. A month and a day from now, we're going to gather on Christmas Eve. And this year, like most years, we'll probably read that favorite Christmas reading by Sophia Lyon-Fawes, which ends, each night any child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. How many people know that reading? We've heard it here a few. Come on, come to Christmas Eve. Come on, people. This is so Unitarian Universalist that on Jesus' birthday, we read a reading that says, any night any child is born is a holy night. How more you can that get? The gospel of you. Matthew's gospel begins with ancestry. Each of us has an ancestry. As the choir sang this morning, the love of thousands, which led to our being. Matthew and Luke's gospel has a birth narrative. Every one of us has a birth narrative, a story that tells us that it was a blessing that we were born. All the gospels contain a death, just as each and every one of us will die. And all of the gospels contain a community of memory and hope who gather to grieve, and a sense that we do not really die when our memory and legacy and impact and life lives on and endures in the people whose lives we touched. So may it be true for every single one of us. And most of all, as Victoria Safford wrote in our reading, along the way, the story of our own life can become our own religious text, a map of the journey in progress. Here is where I found my voice. Here is where I forgave and was forgiven. Here is where I said no. Here is where I learned. Here is where I stumbled. And here is where I learned to be myself, where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my own ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. To sing my own song. For you to sing your own song. Your own song, not someone else's. Your own life, not the mediocrity of some other model. Your own life, not what someone tells you to do. Your own life, not commandments handed down on stone tablets. Your own life, not the limits imposed by tyrants. Amen. Before Pi, we will sing. I invite you to gather. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing. I'm not telling you have to. That's your choice. But I'm going to sing 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Let us sing out.
Please remain standing in body or spirit. The words for extinguishing our chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join me in thanking all who made this service so worshipful. And now join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. Please join hands with those next to you or place them over your heart as you are comfortable.
Shalom. Thank you.